Welcome to The Deepest Cut, a podcast about the movement from painful experiences to meaningful music. I'm your host, Matt Connor. If your listening habits are anything like mine, then you likely have a memory or two, or dozens, of reaching out for a favorite song or songwriter when you really needed someone or something to connect. Music has served as a lighthouse for me for as long as I can remember, and some of the songs that have brought me the most healing were ones that served that same purpose for the songwriter. I have a feeling that the song For a Little While by Cecily may be that sort of song for some of you out there listening to this podcast. When it came to sorting through potential guests for the Deepest Cut, it made sense to go for more experienced songwriters since we're combing through the catalog, so to speak. But I knew I had to highlight Cecily's perspective the moment I heard her EP entitled Love Letters for the first time. Despite its sparse arrangements, there's something so striking about her clear, God-given talents and the heart behind it all. As it turns out, the very song that we're featuring stemmed from her own courageous attempts to reach out to friends at a low point, one she said that was riddled with anxiety, fear, and despair. While she was, quote, spiraling in an endless circle, she asked friends and co-writers Leslie Jordan and Sarah Gerald to help her process it all. I needed a song for myself, she said. I need something to be sung over me because I'm the one always singing over other people. It's in those moments that the beauty of Cecily's community broke through and provided her words and music that would not only be sung over her, but would go on to bring healing and hope to so many others. We hope you enjoy this episode of The Deepest Cut as we get to know Cecily and hear a song that served as a companion for both the artist and her audience. Hello and welcome to The Deepest Cut. My name is Matt Connor and I'm your host. Today I'm just so thrilled to meet for the first time and interact with Cecily, who's here as our guest for this episode. Having recently come across her music, I was bowled over. I just told her all this already. It's probably embarrassing to hear it twice, but I was totally bowled over. But Cecily, how are you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm happy to be here. Stoked to meet, stoked to chat.
I told her all of this already. I will tell all of you listening just for the sake of what I believe you should know, which is that I hear a lot of music all day, every day, in some level, music journalism, freelance. I've been doing this for decades. I feel like I've just heard a lot. It's very, very hard for the antenna to go up and the lights to go off and sort of that jackpot noise to go, and for me to be surprised by something new. And I was here, which is why I'm sitting here with her today, because she graciously agreed to this conversation. But if you've not heard her music, you will at the end of this episode already. But I'm assuming that will also lead you to subscribe to all her channels. Cecily, I'm assuming you're all over Spotify and all the normal ways that people can find music.
Yes, all the places.
Well, so glad to have you here. And, I want to talk about your song For a Little While here in just a minute. But overall, like, you're young now. Can we say how young you are?
Yeah, I'm 21.
Okay. My parents taught me not to ask people's age as like a polite conversational topic. However, even only as a 21-year-old, like I've already been, as I said, sort of astonished at your songwriting. I'm assuming, does this go back for you? Like, I know that you're young, but I'm assuming you're probably years and years and years in as a songwriter. Is that true?
What's so funny is I didn't even write my first real song until I was maybe 18 and a half.
Oh, you're kidding.
So yeah, I'm when I moved to Nashville was literally I would say my first ever real song that I ever wrote, and it was a co-write, was 3 months after I moved to Nashville. So I was 18. I was 3 months into being 18.
Yeah, I mean, that's just a couple years ago.
Yeah, literally three and a half, 4 years ago.
I just can't believe it. Is this, I mean, did it turn into a pretty regular discipline for you then at that point?
Kind of, but what was so funny is I feel like usually the story's opposite, where like people write a lot by themselves and then they start co-writing. But I jumped in to co-writing and I was only writing with other people. And I would say like I'm grateful because I was not only learning what I wanted to do as a songwriter, what my style was, but I was also like just soaking up all of the wisdom of all these people that I was writing with like every week. And so it was almost like I would analyze like at the end of a session what I loved about that writer and that writer and that writer. And then I would like pick the things I really loved and I would like put them together and like keep them.
Do you think that was important to even where you're at now, a couple years later, to have started that way?
Oh, 100%. Yeah, I definitely think so. Obviously, everything comes with its challenges, whether it's you wrote by yourself for years or you wrote with only other people. But yeah, like it's helped me really hone in on when I do write by myself, feeling confident in like reaching into all these different pots of like having melodic strength, lyrical strength, production strength and musical strength, because I've seen how they can all be played out by people that really are like really good at, those specific things. It's definitely good. And I still like to do it with other people, so that's good. I'm not burnt out completely.
You have your own like solo career, but I just want to get this straight. You also have like a writing or publishing deal, correct?
Yeah, so I got my first pub offer like my 4th month here. So like I had written 6 songs when I got offered a publishing deal. And the thing is like they were horrible. Like I mean when I look at they're not horrible. I won't say that. But when I look at the songs that I wrote, the first 6 songs I wrote specifically, they were just not. I'm like, why was I getting a pub offer? And I mean, also the pub offer was horrible and I never ended up signing with them. And, that's another story for another day. But I did like process the deal for like 7 months and I learned what publishing was. Like I had no clue. I like when they were like, we want to offer you a publishing deal. I'm like, I don't write books. Like I genuinely had no clue. But I got a pub offer, ended up not signing it, but I was still co-writing and just building friendship with all these writers here, predominantly in the like church Christian space. So I was writing a lot with, Christian artists, for churches, with churches, but all the while knowing, okay, I just jumped straight into this. I don't even really know what it is that I want to do yet for me, but I'm okay with where I'm at right now. So maybe a year into living here, I got another pub offer, ended up signing with them, and it is with the Provident team. They're like subcategory of Sony, but like the Christian side. And then so I just do publishing with their essential team. And so yeah, I like get to still write with the church, write for Christian music, write for, people all over the Christian and like church space. And also they very much still honor and like are excited for what I'm writing for my, personal project as Cecily, the artist. And they make space for that and it's really cool. And then I also just like recently partnered with Sony on the sync side. So I'm working on like film and television stuff now, which is really exciting because I love film and it really inspires how I write a lot too. So yeah, that's where I am now, just writing a lot.
Was writing, maybe not songwriting, but was there any format of writing that was like a regular part of your process before, like journaling, poetry?
Yeah, I journaled a lot, but it was like I wasn't ever considering it like an art form. It was just like journal to process and like I don't even go back to my journals. Like maybe now as an adult I've gone back to my journals and like laughed at my entries, just like as a 16-year-old or whatever. But yes, I journaled almost like 3 times a day. I was always writing just everything out. But I love like all the other mediums. So I love like visual art. So I've always like loved painting and drawing for fun and crafts and stuff like that. But yeah, I mean, I was never like I'm writing poetry. Like I just got into poetry like when I was like 18, 19, and I hated reading until recently. I'm really starting to like it more. I think for me it was more of like I just felt like super inadequate reading really big words, and now I feel like encouraged and like challenged in a good way by like literature.
So this newer journey you're on, We're talking about, like on this podcast, the idea of channeling darker or more painful, traumatic, difficult experiences or stories, whether they're our own or observed or whatever it is, into music. And for a lot of people, it's a cathartic exercise. Like for a lot of people, it's a way
Mhm.
of like making sense of things. But it sounds like maybe you had other practices in place to do that before now. It makes me wonder if songwriting has become that for you, or whether you still have no, not really, it's other practices for me. And I mean, like how, like what role does songwriting play for you as a way of like discovery?
Yeah, that's a really great perspective because I feel like I just recently got to the point where I was like, "Oh, I can be in process while writing a song instead of like arrived with like the revelation." And I feel like because I had all these other practices that helped me process really hard stuff, but also like being young and still learning how to figure out emotions. Like I often won't even be 100% honest with myself about where I am, and I was always nervous that it would like taint the thing that I really needed to be beautiful. And so I was like always pretty nervous to get extremely vulnerable in my songwriting. And so I would only ever write about hard things, I feel like, on the back end, like once they've been figured out or like there's a good sense of understanding on my behalf, and then turn it into a song and be like, oh, this is the beauty on the other side. But I'm really learning now that like songwriting is helping me in the middle of it. But yeah, I mean, like songwriting, I feel like one of the things that I've been processing lately is music as a whole, like in every, version of it. So writing it, creating it, receiving it, engaging with it is like the medicine that was always there, but it wasn't the only one for a long time. And so I had all these other things that I did to like let my stuff, fall out. And so now I'm really learning how to like invite my mess into my songwriting too. But that doesn't mean it's like completely been void. Obviously we leak into everything that we do, but yeah, I don't think I was ever like intentionally like I need to write a song to process this until like maybe the last year. So yeah, I mean even with this project Love Letters, a lot of vulnerability was required, and even just the way that we went about recording it, we did it all live in a studio over 2 days with no like post processing, no auto tune, nothing. And that was so like, it was what I wanted and what I saw for the project because of how raw it was. But it was so hard for like months after I would listen to the master and I'm like, there's no way this is done. Like, this is a crap show. Like, I'm cracking, I'm hitting the worst notes. Like, I'm going so flat there. Like, could anyone else hear this? Like, but having that project honestly come out really, I think, released me into a new wave of vulnerability and like honesty in my songwriting. And I think too, just as an artist, you get so anal about wanting to invite strangers all over the world into your story, and like that's the point, is like they're just getting to watch a little bit, but also feeling nervous about letting strangers into your story.
I love that tension that you just said for this song for a little while. That tension you just described of letting strangers in. First of all, can you tell us about the song, like where it came from? And then that pressure of like inviting people into that specific song.
So I co-wrote this song with my friends Leslie Jordan, which I'm sure you know, she's the best, and Sarah Gerald. And I love them both so much and I trust them dearly. So it felt really perfect that they were the ones that I processed it with. But even still, leading up to writing this song that I didn't know was gonna end up being what it was, obviously, I was just like falling apart with anxiety, with so much depression, so much like fear of just tomorrow, the next step, the next day, just like literally spiraling in an endless circle. And I called up Leslie and Sarah and I was like, can we please, like, even if this is like not for anything else, like to not go out, to not be released, but just I need to write something. and I need you two because you're like the poets of my life. And I was like, I need you two to like, I basically just feel like I need to be in like a therapy session with the two of you asking me questions because they just are the best at asking questions. And so I called them up and Leslie was like, I can do 5 and we can have dinner. And then I was like, great, cool. So we like all head over and we just talk for like hours before we even like start the song. And I don't even think I was like writing the album yet. I don't even think the album was an idea yet. I think I just went in and I was like, I just need to process something, whether we get a song or we don't. But I need basically a promise. And like, very honestly about my career and my life is like, I'm a follower of Jesus, I'm a believer, and like that is very important to how I create, how I live, all of those things. It bleeds into everything. And I just told them, I was like, I need a song for myself, if for nothing else or no one else. I need something to be sung over me because I'm the one always singing over people. I'm the one always writing the song for other people. I'm the one always, speaking the promises and the life over people. And I need a song. And I think this is even where love letters kind of started to become something before I knew it, was because it was like, okay, let's write a song from God to us over this moment, which is a very, very touchy line because it's like, to put words in God's mouth is like, how dare you? But I was like, okay, if this goes nowhere else, it's for no one else. Like, what do I absolutely need him to say that will also not only comfort me in this moment, but also, feel strong enough that I trust that it's not going to waver. And we really just had like a whole conversation as if like God was speaking, and it just flowed into like song form. So like even like musically, I was telling Leslie that I didn't want it to feel super big. Like I felt like the lyrics and the melody themselves would speak for the song. And so she just sat down and she was like just hitting like one note, and like the first half of the song is just singing on top of like one note at a steady rate. And I was like, something about that is like it reminding me that my heart is still beating, that I'm going to be okay. And there's a steadiness in like the pace and the rhythm, and there's nothing else clouding it. There's nothing else muddying it. So I don't even have to worry that like what I'm hearing isn't true. Like I'm hearing it clearly. There's this steady note underneath it that's keeping the pace, and trusting that like I'm on this journey that is steady and it's hard, but like we're going somewhere, and let's just quiet everything else that's happening right now and let's just know and hear what's true. So it's like hearing this truth being sung over this really steady beat was like, I mean, literally I felt like I was like getting oxygen back like in the room. Cause I like when I got there, I was like, I can't breathe. I can't think. I'm a mess. I can't even cry. It's like my tear ducts are stuck. By the end of it, like I'm bawling my eyes out. Like, and we sang even after writing the song, like, typically it's like you'll get a solid demo, you'll record it into a mic or something. We like did a voice memo, and then we just sang after the voice memo, we sang it again just to like sing it over the room and like over ourselves. And it just was like, okay. And I had that song for almost a year before even showing it to anyone, because I was like, this is the song that's being sung over me. This is a song that I need. This is like literally medicine. This is the blanket. This is the sun. This is the moon. This is the oxygen. This is like every simple necessity that I need in my life to like survive right now. And it was that for me. And graciously is now, ministering to so many people all over. And like the testimonies and the stories coming in are like mind blowing, because it's like, man, that little song that I thought was just going to be for me is now like messing us all up. We're all just like crying everywhere, like and every time I sing it, I'm just like, "Ah, I'm a mess again." Like, and so
By the way, do you learn something about the craft, or like the need, like basically you said I was feeling all this overwhelming thing, and I just like the impulse was I got to call these two. I got to get in a room. We got to write something without regard for where and when to categorize or shelve it or whatever. And I just wonder, with that having come out from that session and having worked out so well, does it embolden that instinct to like, oh, after that I've learned like the importance of like getting in a room fast or of yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, I think like really, really important things to me is like obviously just like putting my hand to the plow of whatever, like in whatever I'm going through instead of like, ending up in my mind and spiraling out. I mean, it's like just the logistical practices of, when people are really angry, like going to the gym or like, when I get really frustrated, I go like, if I have like a hard combo or I like get in a screaming fight with someone, like I'll grab my longboard and I'll go like skate for an hour or something. Just like feeling the wind and being like, I'm a human. This is real. It's okay. So like even just it was wild to me because I don't even feel like my natural instinct is typically to go to a session. But I think like something about where I was, that was where that was just like the first thing that I was like, okay, I'm gonna go here. But it doesn't always happen that way. Like sometimes it's like I'm gonna go longboard or I'm stressing out about something. I'm gonna go, just produce a beat or just go play piano and like not record it and it just, be sent into the air. Or I'm gonna go like work out and I'm gonna hit something, like to process. So I think yes, like I am seeing more regularly like the result and like I guess the fruit of writing from, more vulnerability. But I still like I hold music so equally and lightly as I do like all these other things that I love because at the end of the day, like it is a source of like oxygen and medicine and like rest for me. And so I don't, feel this requirement to like do it all the time. And like, yes, I still believe that like, honing in on a craft and like really excellence matters to me. Like I love practicing, like, but it's like sometimes I could have equally just gone and like played piano by myself and processed what I did. But that day it just happened to be that I was going to write with Leslie and Sarah. So it's like, it kind of just like could happen or not, But I am obviously recognizing I'm not naive to the reality that like music is an area that I get to impact other people. And so the gift of writing in the middle of my stuff is that it is helping people on the back end. So I am like more aware of that and I do want to do that, but I don't want to expect myself to always have to, you know, get something out of it, I guess. Even if that wasn't my goal, even if we just wrote it and it just went into the air. But yeah, like songwriting in the middle of my stuff is just on the list of so many other things that I do to process. And so I kind of it kind of just happens or it doesn't, I guess. But but I am seeing obviously like the gift of, writing songs in the middle and how it's impacting people. So, I'm more aware, but I'm not like, okay, now I only can write songs and I'm like, anxious, you know.
Sure. Hey, one more for you. Do you have a favorite story of or a response from those who've given you feedback on this song?
Yeah. Well, I mean, this whole record, it feels like one big thing together. But I actually got this message from a girl like the day after the album came out that her mom passed away and she was 18. And it was like her only, like her mom was like a single mom. And she was like, literally, I have no one. And this album just like literally picked me up and like cradled me in all of it. And I was just like, whoa, even just the vulnerability of sharing that so close after. Because I think her mom had passed like that week. And then the album came out on Friday and she like messaged me on like Monday. And I was just like, whoa. And even just with the language of For a Little While, the first line is, you think I'm galaxies away while I'm tallying your mistakes. You think I'm distant, think I'm angry, but I'm not. And just like the exhale of that over me and whoever receives it, as it's being sung, is just like, man, what a gift. And yeah, just a really sweet tool, I guess, to pull out. I pull out the album. Like I'm not a big like I'm gonna blast my own music, but sometimes I just pull open love letters and I let it wash over me as like the lyrics and the language is just so, yeah, just like oil, like healing oil to my soul.
Love letters to you, then, even.
Yeah, love letters to me.
Well, Cicely, we'd love to have you introduce your song to those who are going to hear it, maybe for the first time. We'd love to have you introduce and whatever you want to say about it.
Yep. This song is called For a Little While, and it's out under my name, Cecily. And I hope you guys enjoy it. I hope that it just meets you where you are and encourages you. You think I'm galaxies away while I tally your mistakes. You think I'm distant, think I'm angry, but I'm not. I am the oxygen you breathe. I am the water that you drink. I am closer, I am better than you thought. So I'm gonna tell you again and again, there isn't another shoe that's gonna drop, my friend. So breathe in and breathe out and stay for a little while. I hear the questions that you ask about your future, about your past. I know you're worried, know you're anxious, but I'm not. I am the answers that you seek. I am the rock under your feet. I'm the compass, I'm the lighthouse when you're lost. So I'm gonna tell you again and again, there isn't another shoe that's gonna drop, my friend. So breathe in and breathe out and stay here for a little while. Oh, breathe in and breathe out and stay here for a little while. I'm gonna tell you again and again, there isn't another shoe that's gonna drop, my friend. I'm gonna love you with all that I am. There isn't another shoe that's gonna drop, my friend. There isn't another shoe that's gonna drop, my friend. So breathe in and breathe out and stay here for a little while. Stay here for a little while. You think I'm galaxies away while I tally your mistakes. You think
Think I'm distant, think I'm angry, but I'm not.
You've been listening to The Deepest Cut, part of the Rabbit Room Podcast Network. Audio production and theme music by Isaac Vining. Logo and identity work by Meg Cook. The Deepest Cut was created and hosted by me, Matt Connor. Thank you so much for listening.